Welcome, everyone, to episode 26 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. We are here to talk about not only SmackDown, but also the Battleground pay-per-view. But we're going to start with SmackDown, which led the show off with the new bloodline, Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Paul Heyman came to the ring, and they officially allowed Loa into the group, which didn't realize he wasn't in the group, but I guess he wasn't, and... But he's in it now.
Just one quick second. I think I added some numbers to our number of episodes just a second ago with my fingers. So
26.
Okay. There we go. I think I did 2, 5. And then I went like that.
So before we went live, he was insisting on this being episode number 28. And
no, negative. I said 26 or 27.
No, you said 27 and 28 because it is 26. So here we are at episode 26. He's still wrong, but
some Steiner math going on here.
It doesn't matter. We are at episode 26. All four of you know that. But eventually, after they started talking some absolute BS, Kevin Owens came out and tried to attack everyone. I'm surprised he wasn't successful with how weak they've booked this bloodline. But the Street Profits came out for the save. I'm surprised that... Have I missed something? Why does it make sense that the Street Profits are the ones who are involved in this?
I mean, it's
okay to say it doesn't make sense, but...
Well, no. I'm seriously trying to go back because they had Tama Tonga defeated Dawkins for the King of the Ring qualifier. And then I feel like there was a...
First round, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And thinking there was also something else after that as well where they decimated them. But
I guess what I'm trying to say is I can understand why they're involved, but I don't understand why they're involved.
Yeah.
Why are they why are they going after the Street Profits? Why did WWE say, "Hey, let's make the bloodline go after the Street Profits"? I don't quite get that round table amongst all of them. It doesn't quite make sense to me, but here we are. Not that I'm upset, because I like the Street Profits.
Me too.
They're my youngest son's favorite wrestlers.
I don't understand how they're not champions right now. I don't. Yes, because all signs are pointing to it. The next champs being DIY.
Because they're in a heated battle with the bloodline. They're past the tag titles. They're with this jobber group who we are supposed to believe matter. Spoiler alert, I don't care at all about this bloodline. At all. And I cannot wait to hear the pop that Roman Reigns gets. The only thing that I hope and pray for is that they make it a surprise return, and it's not one that they announce.
No, they can't be.
Yes, it can. At a pay-per-view, there's no reason why they can't close the show with them
No.
returning.
I'm saying it can't be an announced one.
Because if it comes unannounced, man, I wish they would do it in Glasgow, because that foreign crowd would probably completely blow the roof off.
Well, if history's an indicator of kind of surprise returns, non-Royal Rumble, I remember when a couple years ago when Roman... in 2021, when Roman won his Money in the Bank match, Cena unexpectedly came out afterwards. It was setting up their program at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a good, because those are a major event leading to the main event of another major event.
Okay.
So
we don't have a main event yet for SummerSlam?
No.
Okay.
No. Not as of yet, but there's a lot of and that's one part of this I do like. I'm all ready for the pop for him to come back, but there's just so many unknowns because now they're saying another. I think
Akalua.
Yep. And then you still have Jacob Fatu, who
no clue if I pronounced that name correctly, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, and. But I know who you're talking about. And you still got Jacob Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then it's hey, get the pop. But then it's still Okay, well then, is that too early for him to come back, or do you drag it out even further to set up his first match back being at Mania? Talk
Oh,
about Roman.
no, that's too long. That's too long to have your top guy out.
Not necessarily.
Is there precedent for that?
Not
It's already
yet.
been it's already been 2 months.
I understand, but if Rock comes back and fills some of that sporadic void week to week, they could drag that out and have Roman be the savior to overthrow Rock. But then again,
Roman needs to be the savior to overthrow these jack nozzles, because they're not watchable TV. They're not engaging. I am not engaged with this bloodline at all.
But they're already running into it's all. And again, I like it. It's like, okay, so I think the way they had Rock's last appearance be, it has to be Rock versus Cody first, and then Roman versus Rock. Doesn't it? The way they booked that? It's.
You would think. I mean, I'm fine with Cody going back to AEW though, and we don't get that. And I'll get to Cody later, because that backstage segment where he was pacing and then just started making random noises. Is there some sort of mandate on random noises in backstage segments now?
If you would make the Critters video, I'm so desperately seeking, we could discuss that more.
I may have to make it with Cody now, because he started grunting and going. I don't know how you grunt with the list, but he did it.
Would you please stop doing that? You had their SmackDown coming to your neck of the woods soon. If we have any chance of him coming on here, you've got to stop saying that.
I just don't know how you grunt with the list.
Stop. Can you please stop? I want him to come on the show. Please.
Finish the story.
I'm begging you, please. So that we got one shot at this, and it begs on you.
Okay. I will delete this from the internet so he never sees it. But
in all seriousness, back to the segment as a whole, did like the looks that Tama Tonga and Tongalo were shooting Paul Heyman, and then the smirk on their face and the head nods when he corrected himself immediately. Those are great.
Yeah.
And dude, I think it's one of those things. What is keeping me hooked on this, even though I'm not invested in what's going on with them, like in the ring, like wrestling wise, right this second. I am a little bit more the way the show ended. I did like that, but we'll get to that later. But what keeps me hooked is when they're inevitably going to turn on Heyman, which is going to draw out Roman.
Yeah, but again, we're hooked to figure out when Roman is going to come back. We're not hooked to figure out anything about these.
No, I know, but I guess my point is I'm invested enough in it. But now, I got it, and I know we'll get to that later. But the way the show ended, I am much more invested in wanting to see more of that than I was going into Friday night.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I know there was something missing, and maybe that's not everything to, fulfill what I was looking for, but that helped for sure. I liked what they're doing there, but we'll get to that next. What was first? What was the first
match
wrestling?
Tonight? It was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus two of my favorite wrestlers, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, in some good old-fashioned tag team action, which resulted in the only possible outcome, a Belair and Cargill win, but not before we got some other tag teams that came down. We had Wade's Phone, and then we also had Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, and then Alba Fire and Isla Dawn come down, and they attack them. And I don't know what statement they think they were making, but they're having a triple threat match in Glasgow. Or not a triple threat, expand tag match, or whatever you want to call whatever this is, a triple threat tag match. Is there any world where Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill don't walk out of Glasgow with their titles?
No,
no.
I think no. It's too. I don't think any major heel turn is going to happen there.
No.
Between either Jade or Bianca is going to turn on the other. I personally don't believe that's happening till at least Money in the Bank, and therefore would set up a major match, singles match between the two of them at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
But and because realistically, like a match of that magnitude, what they're, I think, obviously building up towards, it's either going to be just the way the pay-per-views have been booked here in recent years. It's either going to happen at SummerSlam or Mania. Just normally I would include Money in the Bank, but I think I just don't see them doing that at this Clash of the Castle event. I see the happening at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to put the straps on Isla Dawn or Alba Fire. They're not going to put the straps on them. They're not going to put the straps on Indy Hartwell or Candice LeRae. I guess I could see some world where they might put it on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, but not a world that I live in, but some world. But it's just the teams that are involved are not conducive to anybody believing that they're going to lose those titles. I just don't see that happen. So we shall see when they eventually do lose their titles. But yes, it will. The only way they cannot be beaten. They can only beat themselves. I'm of that mindset that those two cannot be beaten. So the only way for them to lose the titles is through the heel turn, as you said, and we will see when that happens. But next up, we had a one-on-one match between Grayson Waller and Johnny Gargano.
This is great, dude.
I actually thought it was a pretty good match. I didn't quite understand I'm going to start with the intro. When Johnny came down, and obviously I think they're planting a seed. Are they planting a seed for Tommaso Ciampa turning on him and going back to the black and gold brand? Because
I kind of thought that was happening the way their last match on Raw went, when Ciampa didn't want to shake hands, but then it was like all was well once they were at SmackDown. I was like, okay.
But in their intro, Johnny Gargano took a sign from a fan that said Johnny Wrestling, and then he showed it to Tommaso Ciampa, and Tommaso Ciampa seemed irritated by Johnny Gargano doing that. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I did not.
And then Johnny gave the sign back to the fan, and I couldn't tell what type of irritation was. Was the type of irritation like, I'm sick of you? Or is it the type of irritation where it was like, oh,
like,
Johnny,
focus on your match, not the fans?
Yeah. So I couldn't tell which one it was. It just seemed odd. And since he did take somebody else's sign, it might have just been an impromptu thing. Because obviously you don't prepare for that unless... I mean, I know the WWE is notorious for planting signs.
That's preposterous. I don't believe that.
They don't pump in crowd noise either. But I know that they've done that in the past. Yeah. But this looked like a sign that was done like by a fan, like not like a fake sign. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into it. But the one thing that's definitely going to happen is the Austin Theory and Grayson Waller breakup. That's 100% going to happen, because in this match, Grayson Waller pulled Austin Theory in front of him to take the suicide dive from.
As he should have,
and then he did nothing to check on his friend. But he ended up getting the win. So clean. Good on him.
Essentially, I mean, that's a heel tactic, pulling somebody in front. But I mean, it wasn't like he didn't cheat.
Yeah, he did not. Overall, though, what did you think of the match? I thought they had pretty good chemistry. But what did you think? No,
very, very good match. They're very athletic. Does Waller have like a Golden Gloves type background or something like that? Amateur boxing, or
that I'm not sure of.
Okay, because I mean the gear kind of makes me think that, but I mean I don't know if that's why, or if because I know Corbin did. Corbin was Golden Gloves, champ. And I feel like there was somebody else, but anyways, I couldn't remember what his background was, but I enjoyed it. Very good match.
Golden Gloves boxer in Australia.
Okay.
Before becoming a high school history teacher, then he left to sign with the WWE and become a full-time professional wrestler.
Awesome.
So there we are.
Yeah, so yeah, so that match is coming. That should be a good match. Yeah, two good wrestlers, and
They
yeah.
just got to put the fun and games aside and just go maul each other.
Mhm.
That's what they need to do. We also then got a backstage segment from Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight that led to Nick Aldis booking a match between the two. I told you before he came over that I didn't think he was going to succeed, and I stick by the fact that I don't think he's going to succeed. Carmelo Hayes is not meant for this main roster, especially not the way that they are portraying him. He's flubbing his words in these backstage segments. He flubbed them last week, and LA Knight actually made fun of him for doing that, and he doesn't seem that crisp now.
Actually, what's kind of funny is at least I felt this way.
LA Knight flubbed this
LA
week.
Knight stumbled this week, and I was like, Mello, there's your chance. Do ad lib, do it.
And he couldn't do it.
But nah, dude, I disagree with you. I think he'll be fine. Again, though, I don't know why they are booking somebody.
He's a jobber.
No, he's not.
He's a jobber.
Okay, we'll see who ends up with that briefcase.
They realize they made a mistake, and there's a reason why he continues to lose. You can't spell jobber without Mello. He's a jobber.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll remember this.
It led to a match where he jobbed out LA Knight and took the L. And he's going to continue to take these L's.
Yeah, until he gets that briefcase.
Because he's a Lahu.
Until he gets that briefcase, because the bloodline will cost Jimmy. I'm sorry, the bloodline will cost Jay the briefcase.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think Jay's getting it. Because I think that's when they're gonna. There's a reason they're keeping him off of TV right now. It's because they don't. I think they're being a little bit cautious because they've got something major planned for him, whether that be actually winning the briefcase, option 1 or option 2, having him be reincorporated into the bloodline saga beginning at Money in the Bank when they cost him yet again. And I think they're doing the same with Tiffy Time. For the second week in a row, all we got was like a little backstage thing. And I think that's because they want to. And I say that, but I'm sure they're still doing the house shows. But I think the reason they're keeping them off is because they got something major planned. I don't see how she doesn't win the briefcase. I don't. I don't.
I think that her treatment of Bianca Belair via Instagram is going to mean that she will never sniff a title. We may never even see her again. I'm not sure. Maybe she'll even get put in the Bloodline segment where they actually kill her to write her off the show. I don't know. I'm just speculating here that might be what they do. That Jacob Fatu is so unhinged that his first order of business is killing Tiffany Stratton. Maybe. Just maybe.
Won't be till after she wins that briefcase, though.
But you can't cash in if you're not alive. But moving on to the... actually, we didn't even finish this. So LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes.
It was a cheap win. Well, not cheap. It wasn't a... He didn't hit BFT. He had to get him with like a roll-up. And
still, even more embarrassing. Even more jobber-esque.
Still a loss. A loss is a loss. And just like, I don't... And again, I don't agree with what they've done with him and how they've, and I don't care like, oh, well, they booked him to lose against Cody Rhodes, the champion. Oh, they booked him to lose against Randy Orton. Or LA Knight still super popular heading into a U.S. title match. I don't care. I don't like how they've booked him so far. I don't like the way they booked Dragunov on Raw so far. And I just, I don't get it, but we'll see. Still plenty of time for them to book them the way they drafted them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you there's not plenty of time for. There's not plenty of time for WWE to make me care about this main event, which was KO and the Profits versus Tama Tonga Loa and
No, we're
Sikoa.
missing something.
We're not missing anything.
Yeah, we are. I don't know if we've talked about this on here. Me and you did. Like,
Piper Niven and Chelsea Green.
Dude, I'm sorry. This yes chant crap. I get it if somebody's just standing there like delivering something god awful. I get that. There's nothing wrong with her promo. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Piper?
Yes. There was nothing wrong that justified them not letting her talk.
Nah. Her voice doesn't fit her body.
Dude,
my name's Piper Niven. That's
if
not
she,
very good Scottish
again,
accent.
No, that was as bad as my Russian accent.
I gotta edit that out.
Or my Cajun accent, like when I read my kids the Cajun Night Before Christmas. It was on that level. I don't know, man. Again, if it's something like somebody sitting there flubbing over their lines, but they don't really give her they haven't given her that much of a chance with the mic, but you wouldn't know it. She's been wrestling for a long time. She seemed comfortable. She delivered her lines. She never stammered or anything like that. And it's like, I know it's become like a tradition almost, or whatever, or something like you have to do it at the shows almost, but I just don't like it. Not for every single promo. Let them talk. Please, just let them talk.
My issue with this is that I said her voice doesn't fit her body. Her voice doesn't fit her wrestling style. I mean, she comes out there and she's aggressive and she's just pounding people into submission. And then she comes out and her promo seemed... I'd agree that she didn't flub over any of her words. She was fine. She was well-spoken. But there wasn't any passion behind it, in my opinion. Anger passion.
It to me was still like, hey, look, I didn't start in the developmental league for the biggest company in the world. Like, I scratching and clawing and Scotland and working my way up here. I didn't come up the way you did, immediately starting in NXT. I've been winning championships. I enjoyed it. Even though it was hard to hear through the what? I just, oh my gosh, dude. And sometimes I get it. Like, if you're in there just stammering and, you're like when Roman Reigns was trying to recite that garbage they would give him to say, I get that. I mean, that was crap. And I mean, I get that. I get when it's garbage like that being spewed, or just people just completely forgetting their lines and stammering there. I get that. This to me did not justify that chant.
I
know it is what it is. I know, and that's just me. And trust me, I will be the first to admit, okay, yeah, I see why they're frustrated with that. But when you go to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, you purchase those tickets knowing there are going to be several talking segments. You know that. And it's like, let them talk. Just let them talk. And I understand the argument, oh, we paid that, we're going to cheer how we want to. Okay, so be it. That's just my personal gripe with that segment. Let her talk. Let her talk. Promo was fine. Let her talk.
I have different viewpoints on this particular promo. There was a point in time where she said she was saying what, and then she said, say what if you're inbred, and she didn't follow up with that, like a gotcha moment, like you're supposed to.
I thought she did.
No, she just kept going. She said, say what if you're inbred, then she just kept talking, which didn't seem natural because she got the crowd to say what again. I don't know. I just didn't think it was fiery enough. It might have been emotional, and it might have been she said all the right things. I didn't think she was fiery enough. I just don't think it fits her persona.
And listen, I'm not saying it was a fantastic promo or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't think it warranted the crowd not letting her talk without that being said after everything she did. That's all.
Okay. Well, now we can move on to the main event. I already
Yes.
talked about that, which was the Bloodline featuring Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens and Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, the Street Profits. And I, I, I've bashed those three enough today. I'm not going to bash them anymore, other than to say that I just don't care about them. Their in-ring style is not. It's not vicious enough. It's not how Paul Heyman's making them seem like they're being portrayed. And yeah, they did the Shield power bomb through the table at the end. That was fine. That was after the match stuff. I guess they got a DQ because they hit him with the world's softest chair shot. I don't know. I don't get jazzed for anything that they do. Their moveset is pretty generic. Nothing crazy going on. Yeah, I've seen a lot of this clips of some of the things that these guys did when they were with other programs, and it just seemed a lot more innovative. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what Jacob Fatu can do, because the move set that I've seen him portray in some of the videos that I've watched seems pretty impressive, much more impressive than what these two idiots are doing. But we'll see. I know it's all a build there's a means to an end for the Bloodline Civil War, likely at Survivor Series, but I don't know. I just not too much a fan of what they're doing in the ring. But I think it might just be me. I think that you do enjoy what they're doing in the ring, or maybe you don't. What are your thoughts on this iteration of the Bloodline?
I mean, I don't necessarily have an issue with the wrestling. I'm just not as interested of them as a unit right now, because the thing is, as of what I'm most interested in is the inevitable beatdown of Paul Heyman. They're going to excommunicate him from the group, or they're going to be on the verge to. I picture a world where he's about to take a Samoan spike or another one, and then that's when the choir hits, and Roman's gonna make the save. But with that said, it's like that's what I'm looking. It's not the stuff within the group I'm as interested in like I was with the first iteration of it, because as of right now, they're just bringing in people. There's no tension amongst, okay, is Jay finally going to get tired of this and turn on Roman, and like how they did that. And then when Sammy was in there, and then, who's trusting who and not trusting who, and all of that, and everybody being suspicious of everybody else. There's none of that going on right now. But I did like, just the DQ finish, because that's what these guys should be doing. I like the triple power bomb. I like the spear when Solo did it. Not that it was a great spear, but I know what they're doing here. Because earlier in that first promo, Paul Heyman said, until Tribal Chief returns, Solo sits at the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all going to his head now. And, inevitably Caesar and this iteration of Rome will fall. And it's going to be beautiful when it happens. But I think that's the main thing. It's like I like when they had that drama within themselves, and we don't have that right now. Maybe it will come with some of these other people coming in and who's on whose side, but right now there's none of that. The only thing you're wondering right now is when are they going to turn on Paul Heyman? And it's got me. I like that. I like tuning in each week to see that. And now that they're doing some of the Shield callback and then him using Roman's finisher now, it's like, okay, the balloon's gonna pop soon, and I'm here for it.
I think that immediately before Roman comes back out, Solo's going to do a Superman punch, and that's going to be the last straw for Roman. Yes. Seeing him do the Superman punch, and then he comes out.
I think it's going to be he's going to cut the Suffer and Succotash promo.
How dare you take my promo?
And so, yeah, I mean, I do see what you're saying, but I was a lot less excited I knew what I was anticipating, but now I'm anticipating it more because of the little things they did at the end. So, it was fine. We going to talk about Cody and AJ?
Yeah, we will. We'll end with that, and then we'll go on to Battleground. But
all right. I can tell you've got some thoughts on this.
First of all, he was just walking to nothing when he was backstage. Like, it was just weird. To me, the whole thing was just weird when he was just pacing back and forth backstage, and then
he's angry, Josh,
leaning out of a car. That's not how you take out your anger. He's an adult.
I liked AJ leaning out of the car. I thought it was great.
I didn't mind that. I just minded everything that Cody was doing, and then he walked in the opposite direction. Then he just started making noises, and then it just like cut out. It just didn't make sense to me. And I was watching with my kids, and first of all, one thing they said when AJ did come out, he came out during LA Knight's match, or he came out at some point and his music played. And the first thing my son said is, "Why is his music horrible now?" And I said, "I don't know.
Dude,
I don't know, son."
Whose call was that?
I don't know, but it is bad.
I don't like
bad
it at all.
Music.
I mean, because sometimes the first iteration of a theme when you come into WWE isn't the one that ends up sticking and being the most popular. Okay, I mean, I could think of a few examples. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Shawn Michaels, wasn't his first sung by like a female voice, and then they switched it to him singing it?
Sensational Sherry.
Yeah. I still remember it, but not as iconic as Shawn Michaels singing it.
Yeah.
And then I think that, oh God, dude, like, one, I love Sting. They had the rights to all of that. His Crow theme was iconic. Why they didn't bring that over? They used that for the promotion to the video game.
Because they wanted to bury him, Wade.
I don't know.
And they successfully did that.
Yeah, yes. I shouldn't have even brought him up. Now I'm mad again. But, I mean, and just even right now, like what they're doing with like Tiffany Stratton, because I confirmed that she did recently have different theme music. But they struck gold. Like Roman, this music now is iconic. His entry now. And they struck gold. AJ Styles' theme from the first time he showed up at the Royal Rumble was awesome. And they, good Lord, they wait till he's almost done to destroy it. I just don't get it, man. But
speaking of destroying, Cody actually came out because they followed him in the backstage segment. They did the camera angle where they follow him out to the ring. He went out to the ring. He grabbed the microphone and he told AJ Styles to come out. So that's how that happened. Now I'm remembering. AJ Styles comes out. 600 bodyguards come out. And Cody was able to successfully get through the first 300, but it was the second 300 that he could not hold back. Those 300 held Cody back almost as if they were not impartial WWE security guards. They held him back perfectly enough so he could get hit with the phenomenal forearm. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, held back AJ Styles. So it was a little odd. But hey, WWE logic. Let's hold back one guy, not the other, even though we're here to make peace. And he took a phenomenal forearm to the head. And then that pretty much, then he 100% said, I agree to this match 100%, but I want to hear you say I quit. And it set up the I quit match for Clash at the Castle. So that is what we did not talk about. And I'm sure they're going to have a good match.
Do you think this is his last match for real? Do you think they do it overseas?
Alvin? No. What's his real name? AJ?
Alvin, because I remember the Undertaker and the Boneyard lead up.
Yeah.
Alvin?
No, I don't think
Alan.
Alan, yes, that is what it is. Alan. Yeah, Alan. Yeah, it's Alan's. No, I don't think it's Alan's last match.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Could be.
So many little things they could have done to make that whole retirement thing a lot more believable. But
no one's ever going to believe retirement in WWE in 2024. Only one I will believe is if Roman Reigns came out and said his cancer's in remission, or his cancer's back, and he's retiring. That's literally the only thing I would believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move on to Battleground. We had a nice little pay-per-view. Not that it didn't have its issues, because it sure did, and we'll get to those. But overall, as a whole, it was an enjoyable pay-per-view with some pretty good wrestling. But it started off with the Women's North American Championship ladder match to crown the inaugural Women's North American Champion, and it was a surprise to both of us. I had Last Legend, you had Fallon Henley, and we were both embarrassingly wrong. The actual winner was Lonnie. Lonnie got the W, and Lonnie don't play. She got the win. She is the inaugural champion. Not to say she's not. I think that she's going to be a fine champion. It was just surprising to me that they gave it to good old Lonnie.
I just think current character-wise, true baby faces to me are better. And I don't know. I can't remember. Wasn't she teamed up with Izzy Dame and was it her, Izzy Dame, and JC Jane? Were they a heel faction, or am I getting that mixed up? Or was she with Thea Hale in that triple threat at or 3-on-3 at Stand and Deliver? Was she a heel? Was she working heel?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. But just she doesn't have that heel. She doesn't come across to me as a natural heel.
You could make her natural. You could make her a heel. She's good looking.
Yes.
And if you're really good looking, you can be a heel easy. Just make yourself talk about yourself being good looking.
No, but I mean, but just the two natural heels, like, and current heel characters in this match, Fallon Henley and Jada Parker. I thought for sure they were gonna put the title on one of them and then have one of the others from the match be in chase mode. I was shocked. I genuinely did not see that coming. But then when I saw what was going on when she hit the split leg moonsault and she was up on the ladder, and I realized, I was like, okay, nobody's even moving to come and run up the ladder. I was like, holy cow! It's like, this is really about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got one thing right. She used the ladder for a soul snatcher, but not high enough. She should have scaled it all the way up, even though that's impossible. Done like a triple Indy off the top. But
that'd been nice.
They were both good soul snatchers.
Die in the ring.
They were both good soul snatchers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, they were good.
So good.
It is a good move.
And I will say this: I don't have a memory of somebody helping her make it look good. Everyone who's been on the receiving end has done very well at selling it and making it look even that much better.
I think that's something to say about the person who's delivering the move. If she can make everybody look good taking it. I don't know exactly the mechanics behind taking the move.
Yeah.
So it's tough for me to say.
I know she's a future star. She is a star in that company right now already.
She's not a star in the main roster without changing her gimmick.
No. I'm talking on wrestling ability alone right now. And
she changes her in-ring gear.
And she's rough. She needs to be a little more polished for sure. But same with and it's kind of the opposite. I personally think if you had the presentation of Jada Parker on Sol Ruca would be ready-made for the you know what, dude? I think, but then, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to stick to that. But I personally think Jada's got to get a different finishing move. That's the only thing she's lacking right now, to me, is a more believable finisher. Other than that, she's got the swag, the confidence, just the look, the gear, the entry theme. I think, dude, same thing, from a wrestling standpoint, Fallon Henley's got it. I thought this was her time. But, dude, I just don't.
Her look is fine. I think that she's got a good look.
Dude, hate it. I hate that Coyote Ugly waitress look.
I don't like it, but I think it's a look that can work on the main roster. I think that Sol Ruka's look is too colorful for the main roster.
Dude, and I think it didn't WWE. I think that Fallon Henley's is a little too gimmicky, personally, for what I've seen on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, if there's somebody I'm forgetting offhand, please tell me, because I just can't think of somebody who's like a character like that currently.
I can't either. I don't really have characters anymore.
Yeah, but she is just good. Just get rid of that crap and let him wrestle. I don't know, man. But there were good spots in the match, but dude, there were so many times where it's like the timing was off, where somebody would be like it's like, okay, they're like 3 steps down the ladder, like reaching up, and there was one point where they were all kind of like this, and they're like waiting for whoever to come and rip them down, and like just the timing was off, and it was just like, okay, like again, suspending disbelief, and I know that's going to happen in a ladder match, but it was very noticeable in multiple spots in this one.
Oh, you could tell in a lot of places this was the JV. Even when the match first started, who was it? Lash Legend was getting some offense in on somebody, and they were just off. And you could tell it's choreography in NXT a lot more than you can.
Yeah.
And the WWE, and that's my biggest issue. Like, it looks like I can see them calling their spots, and I shouldn't be able to see that. I shouldn't be able to see them communicating with their with the other people, but I could tell in the beginning of that match, I could tell that they were talking to each other. But you know, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match. I think that the ladder was supposed to break when Last Legend got thrown on it.
Okay, I was about to ask you, was it Lash that took the pretty bad bump on the ladder?
Yes,
because I remember when it happened, I was like, when the ref went over to her, but she was just selling it like normal. It didn't seem like she was wincing or anything. I was like, oh, that could have been bad. But
hey, man, it looked bad, and she's a big girl. I'm surprised it didn't break, especially being held up on one end by the ring, the other end by a table. Like, I think that.
Wasn't there a spot was that the one where they all carried her over and dumped her?
Yeah,
that was cool. I don't recall seeing that in any other match,
but it should have been a broken ladder, and it wasn't. I'm just surprised because she's a bigger girl. She's not small. She's not fat. She's just not small.
And something else I was surprised I didn't see, because I knew the ladder was going to be used for assault stature. I knew that was going to happen. But I really thought we were going to see the teardrop hip check. Jada. Yeah, somewhere at least halfway up, knocking somebody off of the ladder. I thought that was the only other thing I was really surprised that was not seen.
Well, we didn't see it at all, so maybe they're in the process of getting rid of it.
Well, I know she did that like leg drop to somebody on the ladder, and that was a good spot. But a good match. I mean, I enjoyed it. Surprised by the finish. I think I forgot to tell you in one of the website's prediction, every single person they had in the article picked somebody different, and there was either 4 or 6 of them, and they all had somebody different. And
none of them had Kalani Jordan, or somebody did.
I think one of them did have Kalani Jordan.
Okay.
And I remember reading it's like, that ain't happening. Well, I was wrong, whoever you are. But
well, I'll tell you something else you got wrong. The NXT Tag Team Championship match between Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus the OC. As I told you, nobody has given those 90-year-old men those titles.
Hey, that website, every one of them picked the OC. Every one of them. We're all wrong.
I'm a wrestling genius.
Dude,
I'm a genius.
I'll tell you what, man. That was a good match. That was a great match. Great tag team match. And
you saying that had nothing to do with those two not being talented. Those two are talented. It's just they're old and they don't need those titles.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I thought maybe they were gonna pick up the win, but that was a great tag team match. And it's like every time I'm like, yeah, they're going to split Axiom and Fraser up at some point. I see them in the ring, and I don't want them to split up.
They shouldn't split up. They just need to go all in. Their ring gear was closer
I was going to say,
to the same.
I noticed that. I was like, I know Josh will like that. It actually looks a little bit more in sync.
Yeah, they both had the same color scheme. Now I just need them to get the exact same ring gear and just match, because and maybe even put a mask on Frazier. I don't know, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer to them looking like a real tag team, which I'm all for because I like them. They're good. They're really good.
There was a move that Anderson did, I think, off the ropes that nobody has any business kicking out of. So that was my one gripe.
I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought to myself, wow, that move looked painful. No one should kick out from that. And then but I knew he was going to. But what I thought was going to happen was Frazier was going to interfere.
Yes. And I would have no issue with that.
Here's one thing I will say. I think Frazier was supposed to interfere and didn't get there quick enough. And so Axiom had to do that.
Oh, okay.
The way he kicked out to me looked like it was, I have to do this because somebody has missed their spot, as opposed to I'm doing this because I'm superhuman and Triple H is telling me to.
Now, and I can't remember. I remember the spot off the rope, but I don't remember. Did it look like he was aware, or was he in a position where Anderson, being the veteran, had to pull him up and assist him?
I think he was aware.
Okay. Because I couldn't remember where he was in terms of being able to see where Axiom was on the outside or whatever.
And I could be completely off base. They could just let him kick out of that move. I mean, I don't think it was a finisher, but I will also not pretend like I know what Carl Anderson's finisher is.
No. Seriously, I know he's had several reigns as a single competitor, and I am not familiar with what his solo finisher is, but if it's not that one, it should be.
Yeah. And if it is, I feel the same way. If it is or if it isn't, it's a move that looked like it shouldn't have been kicked out of.
Yeah.
But it was, but that did not, in my opinion, deter from the good match that these four gentlemen put on. So I tip my cap to you. It was a very good match, probably my second favorite match, because the next match was surprised me, was actually my favorite match. It was NXT Underground, Shayna Baszler versus Lola Vice. I actually really enjoyed this match.
It was a very good match. Very good match.
They put on a show. But all it did was anger me even more about Lola Vice's character, for being honest with you, because they put on an MMA style match, and she was fierce, punishing, and she looked like a real badass. And then she wins the match and she starts dancing. And
she said that, though, in the promo. She's like, I'm going to win, and then I'm going to dance my ass off. She told you she was going to do that.
And I get it. I understand. And I wasn't surprised by it. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't have done it, because you are correct. She told us she was going to do it. But that doesn't change the fact that she shouldn't be doing it. She shouldn't be dancing. She's a killer. She's one of the few killers that the company has.
And maybe it's the music and the ring gear that she normally has. If they tweaked some of that and still had it be like, hey, yeah, I can shake my ass, because at the end of the day, I just kicked yours and you couldn't do a damn thing about it. So here I am celebrating the way I want to. I think... No. I see what you're saying. I do. And I'll tell you what, because what I was actually wondering, because there's sometimes where she starts doing that, it seems like she's probably just because it's just following up on a match, and she's, probably worked up and like out of breath and like not on sync with the music all the time when she's been doing that dancing. But, kudos to her for her ability with the Sexy Red segment afterwards.
Let's talk about Sexy Red. Could there have been a more pointless person in the entire world than her? She was absolutely pointless.
Hey.
Her involvement was so minimal. I was expecting so much more.
Yeah, hey, got mainstream attention. That's at the end of the day, that's what they were going for. It was harmless to me. It was harmless.
It was harmless. I
I
don't
didn't mind it.
disagree. It
I
just
mean,
wasn't a lot, but I don't know.
but hey, I'll tell you what was awesome. The segment I'm referring to afterwards when she told Lola to twerk and then she tried to get
The other girl
to do
twerk.
it. Oh God, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was more awkward than anything.
Oh, dude, and I guarantee that was not planned. And
No.
so kudos to Sexy Red because that made for a great video clip. That was awesome.
I thought she was going to smack that woman's ass the way that she was back there, but it is what it is.
That was good. But I enjoyed the match, though. I did.
If they booked Lola Vice the way they originally booked Shayna Baszler, do the exact same presentation, I think that Lola Vice could do a much better job of that character.
And after that might be coming, but I can almost guarantee that will be fixed before she goes to the main roster because she's going to the main roster. She's going.
It has to be, and she can be good.
Oh yeah,
and she can be good.
And
this is not me saying that I don't like whatever her real name is. I don't know what Lola Vice's real name is. That person I like. I don't like the Lola Vice character. She needs to change it. She can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to succeed. That is why I'm saying this. It's just weird to me. And maybe I just don't get it. That could also be it.
No. And with what her background is and how great of a striker she is, no, I completely get it. And just like some of these things that are going to require complete character revamps for them to work at the next level, I just don't get it. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
You and I are older.
What?
You and I are older. And
okay.
I just wonder, I would like to, I don't want to talk to someone in their 20s because they're idiots, but I just wonder whether or not like a 20-year-old who watches this, do they say, oh, I think that dancing is fun and cool, or do they think the same way that we think it? I'm curious because
I don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of what the 20-year-old thinks compared to the 40-year-olds, at the end of the day, I don't care because that gimmick is not going to the main roster. It's at least not going to work. Neither is Sol Ruka or some of these other ones. They're not going to work. But they have the talent for it to work. They're just not doing them any favors by having to do a complete revamp of a character prior to going there.
So let me ask you, what characters does Wade Bryant think would work on the main roster as currently constituted?
In NXT?
Yeah.
Jada Parker, 100%.
Okay.
Obafemi.
Okay. Briggs?
Absolutely not. Like, wrestling ability, because there's not much to it. Slee? No. I'm saying he's not presented as like a colorful character. And as much as I hate to say it, we've already talked about this before. The Don character in its current form and that mafioso thing is not working on the main roster. And they better fix that because they've got a great wrestler and they better fix it. And he is great on the mic. So, but I'm trying to think. I know there's somebody else.
Ethan Page.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We'll get to his entry music later because I'm still confused, but I haven't gone back and actually listened to it like on iTunes, but I was like, I'm saying the same thing over and over. But I think Trick will work. He needs to get a little more polished on the mic, but I think
he's terrible on the mic, but yeah, but character can work.
Yeah.
It's just that he doesn't know how to do his character. I guess is the best way of putting it. Because his mic work is lacking.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there's Roxanne Perez. She'll be fine, and because it's kind of a tried and true, like the unhinged female. I think Tatum Paxley would work. I think
you would have to pair her with the right female, but yeah.
I think that is one of kind of the few like characters like that I think currently would immediately work without having to tweak a whole lot. Because there's some of them that I think are great, but they got to do they have to change a lot of stuff. I love Thea Hale. That chase you super hyper stuff is not working. But I think if she uses that in small bursts, like overcoming the odds in the middle of the match, people get behind that stuff. Always have. The babyface comeback. She would be great at that in small doses. But am I missing anybody else? Those are the ones that stick out to me. But the first one that immediately pops in my head is Jada Parker.
Yeah.
For the female side, for sure.
I think there's a role for Axiom and Frazier.
Yes. Yes.
On the main roster.
I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That would work.
Yes. Yes.
Who else was in that triple threat? Wesley, Obafemi, Joe Coffey.
Oh, yeah. Coffee. I mean, dude, because
Coffey.
those your brawlers have already worked. They've proven they can work. And okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. I think I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Yeah, I probably am as well.
And I agree with everyone that you said. Not Wesley, but everybody else I agree with. When I say Wes, I know I have been fine with some of his stuff on the microphone, but not all of it. Definitely not all of it. But I just think he doesn't have some like character or something. He's not a mafia boss. He's not like something, you know what I'm saying? Not something. Yeah, but his character is
like
being an underdog that people doubt and then comes back and he wins and does stuff like that. I mean, that character can work. I just don't think that he can be the one to make it work.
God, he is good though, man. Holy
he
cow.
Might be good, but he's just not my cup of tea.
I like him. And I love that finisher. I love his finishing move, dude. I do.
Yeah. His facial expressions.
I don't know if it's more so the fact that I could only imagine like how if I would survive attempting a move like that.
You wouldn't.
But anyways, speaking of which, was that our next match?
That is our next match.
I'm sorry. I want to go back to something. I also loved we went way off there, but I loved Lola Vice versus Shayna Baszler, and I liked the ending. I think it was I believe, I don't know if they were necessarily going for this because I know it's not the first time it's happened, but I remember when back in the Chuck Liddell UFC days, when he beat Babalu was, confused after being, put out and then came to, and he tried to tackle and take down Big John McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what they were doing a callback to, but that could have happened more recently, but just her trying to hook the leg, Shayna, like after coming back to, that's what I felt they were calling back to. Mm-hmm. And but I liked it. I like how they do callbacks because I remember in CM Punk versus Brock, they did a callback, I think, to like a Matt Hughes Frank Trigg match, I believe, in a sequence that they did. And so yeah, I like that. I like stuff like that. But yeah, anyways,
other things to like: the triple threat match between Obafemi, Wesley, and Joe Coffey, and three talented individuals.
Dude,
when I say I don't like Wesley, that's not me saying I don't think that he's a good wrestler, because I do think that he's a good wrestler. I just think that the other things are escaping him, and the other things are important on the main roster. They're probably more important than your in-ring ability. So that's why I don't think that he's going to be successful, because I don't think that he's going to be able to connect to a main roster crowd. Because connecting to a main roster crowd is completely different than connecting to an NXT crowd. But I digress. Obafemi looks like, a brick S house. He just, the way that he can catch a man and just throw them,
dude, that was impressive. A great spot.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to catch him and just slam him down, but the way he caught him and then tossed him on the coffee.
Like a child.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then as like Terminator-esque movie like that it was, the spot where they have the view from in the ring and he like rose from the ashes like a horror film character or a Terminator and did the double head slam to Gallus. Just the look on his face, it was a little over the top.
It was very over the top
in a way that I loved. I thought it was great. That's that the little callbacks to old school portrayals of big men in professional wrestling. I loved it.
Well, anything that we can do to get Gallus on TV, I think is what WWE's motto is. So there need to be a double mat head thing to get them on TV. Okay, and that's what they do.
And speaking of which, I was surprised they had Coffey take the pin. I thought
you thought Wes would take it.
Yeah, the way that they've been booking Gallus lately, I was surprised. So that was another genuine surprise.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, dude, I was surprised they didn't. I still think somebody from TNA possibly, or another organization, and I'll get to that in a second, is coming. But I think the reason they did not do that is because they didn't want to overshadow the fact that they already had Jordan Grace there.
That's why Moose didn't show up?
Well, after something I read, it may not be Moose, but maybe somebody else. Because I was like, okay, somebody, either Coffey or Wesley's going to challenge him next. But the way they had the backstage beatdown of Gallus on Wes Lee, I think that's going to be the next feud between them, leaving a yet-to-be-named competitor. The more I thought about it, as much as I would love to see those two hosses in the same ring, the fact that Moose, I think, is the current heavyweight champion of TNA, I don't think they would have him come down and challenge the North American title holder. However, after doing some research today,
I know where you're going with this.
It said the contract status of Wardlow is unknown in AEW.
I know where you're going with this.
And he has openly said he does not want to stay with the company as of a few months ago. And he's in a dead-end thing with Undisputed Kingdom currently, and that would be a believable foe. And I think they could properly book him in NXT and be a seamless transition to the main roster whenever that comes. But again, I cannot find anything on the internet that says when his contract is up. But
well, it's always tough to find that out.
Oh, dude, no, I saw a list of a whole bunch of them today. Daniel Bryan, apparently Bryan Danielson's is up sometime in the fall, and a bunch of them, they're like this, like Young Bucks and Omega through 2027 at least. Yeah, there was a list of certain ones, but I could not find one specifically for Wardlow. But there were several articles talking about how, like a couple of months ago, he stated he did not intend to re-sign with the company.
Okay. All right, well.
But where did you think I was going with this?
I thought you were going to say that Moose is going to come back and fight Trick Williams. Because you were talking about how he wouldn't go after the North American title, so I thought
and he could. But I mean, because dude, the way, and again, in terms of setting up something for a next feud, I think it's going to be Metaphor and Ethan Page because of the did you see the little segment they had when Ethan Page got to the hotel and the guy from Metaphor attacked him in the valet?
No. Yes.
So, I mean, I thought that was going to be how they incorporated the finish to that match, but since they didn't, I'm assuming that's where that feud is going to go. And so, yeah, that would leave the door open for Trick and Moose for sure.
Yeah.
But we shall see. But dude, I love this North American men's title match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was. And kudos to them for putting on a good match. We'll see whether or not that's the end of it or whether or not they'll continue on, whether or not Wes Lee will continue his plight to regain his North American title. We shall see, but we've been talking about people from other promotions potentially coming back to the WWE and NXT, and that was all sparked by this next match, which was Roxanne Perez versus Jordynne Grace. And I've said this in previous episodes, I have never seen Jordynne Grace wrestle outside of a Royal Rumble match that she had this past year, and back in January. Other than that, I've never seen her do anything other than come to the ring and talk for the past couple of weeks, or maybe just 1 week. I thought it was a good match, though. I enjoyed her ring style. I didn't enjoy all the extracurriculars that happened towards the end.
Absolutely not. That was horrible.
It was terrible, and the interference from Ash by Elegance, which is, I need someone to explain that name to me because I don't quite get that. Ash by Elegance. What does that mean? It sounds like a perfume or something.
I don't know. But Vic Joseph almost calling her, whether intentionally or unintentionally, he started to say Dana Brooke 100%, and he was like, "That's TNA's Ash by Elegance."
No, he got the whole word Dana out.
No,
so he got the whole word Dana out, but no, it was Ash by Elegance, and yeah.
Dude,
good on Dana Brooke for making her way back into doing something for the company.
She looked good.
I had forgotten that she was a person until yesterday.
Dude, and I had a bad feeling they had a little thing with Tatum Paxley and Jordynne Grace with the title at week's NXT or before the show, and I was like, I've got a bad feeling about this. And dude, they had the eye poke. Said there's an easy way out of this booking nightmare. Roxanne is the heel. She is clearly the heel. Have her do a heel thing to get the win. And it's fine. I think and that would have been perfectly acceptable, but they did it too early. And then essentially, so she got distracted when Tatum Paxley came and snatched her title and ran in the shenanigans, but she went back in the ring, tried to hit her finisher, and it got countered into pop rocks. So she lost clean, essentially. But had they done that eye poke they did at the beginning towards the end that led to pop rocks, everything's fine. And the heel did what she had to do to win, doing heel things. And I just, it was right there on a silver platter. Easy. What I did notice, I thought it was makeup at first. I was like, oh, somebody's eyeliner or something's on the face. But then I saw the pictures and stuff today. I was like, and then I realized that, like, when Jordynne Grace put out a tweet, he's like, well, after all these years of never having any issues, I guess no more piercings in the ring for me. And
earring got ripped out.
Yeah, and they showed the clip of her earring in Roxanne Perez's stockings. I was like, God, hey, kudos to her, because if that would have been me and my ear got ripped like that, oh my goodness, yeah, you can, as the Don would say, forget about it. Yeah,
she's a lot bigger and stronger than you. So
sorry, I couldn't go this episode without giving some props to the Don, who was on the promotional material for this, but did not. Dude, they didn't even show him backstage.
Capiche? Yeah, he murdered people and finally got caught. The police came, they arrested him for all the murders.
Well, let's be real here. If they're promoting a show in Sin City in Vegas where the mob expanded back in the old days, he was not going to get arrested there, not on NXT's watch.
Arrested.
But I thought, I was genuinely surprised he wasn't even in a backstage segment with how they've been promoting him in the venue, in the promotional videos, and he's on the poster.
He was when I was making our TikTok with our predictions, and I had to get one of the pictures. I had struggled to find one that didn't have the Don in it, and I was like, I can't put him on this because I know he's not on the show.
That's crazy, dude. Well, I'll tell you what else. I thought the match, real quick, I thought the match was great. I thought Jordynne Grace did a fantastic job of selling the work that Perez was doing on the different limbs, or constantly going back to shaking it out and trying to. I thought she's a pro's pro. And
she was doing a tryout. That was her. This is her tryout to get a full-time contract.
Well, she She did great. I liked it. Very strong. Okay. There were a couple of times if I couldn't tell if it was just part of it for Perez to do a reversal or if she was supposed to hoist her up into certain moves and they just couldn't get on the same page.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, the silliness at the end I thought was completely unnecessary, but overall I thought it was still a great match.
Yeah, not enough to ruin the match for me, but enough for us to have to mention that it was stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, what I was surprised about the most compared to a usual NXT crowd, that crowd sucked.
Well, I read about the crowd, and apparently there was issues with the UFC Apex acoustics, and they were unable to get the proper the speakers in proper places to amplify the crowd.
Okay, well, it's crowd. So I take that back because it looked like they were all cheering, but just I was like, something's
it was a
up.
Venue issue. It was not a crowd issue. It was my understanding from what I read.
Okay,
I noticed that as well, but.
And by saying the crowd sucked, that NXT crowd at their PLEs is usually very raucous. And
I think they were. I just don't think that the facility they were in was able to, I guess, amplify what they were doing in the crowd. So I don't think it was the crowd's fault. That is what I read.
Okay, fair enough.
Obviously, that could just be some WWE propaganda. I don't know.
No, that makes more sense though. So I apologize, crowd.
They looked dead. But
no,
they didn't,
not at all.
They didn't,
not at
they
all.
didn't sound it. But the last match, and I think during Trick Williams' intro, you could hear him getting a little raucous. But Trick Williams versus Ethan Page. And I will say about Trick Williams, the biggest thing that he has going for him when it comes time for the main roster, he's still raw, still green, still needs some work. But he does have an intro, and that's important. He has an engaging intro that the crowd loves, and they sing it now. When he's not even around on the main roster, you can hear fans during certain segments yelling, "Wump that trick." So
it's "whoop that trick," not "womp."
Womp that trick. But
the shirt even says "whoop that trick."
No, it says "womp." So the crowd was doing some womping. Ethan Page need to work on that entrance. Go ahead.
I need to go back and listen because it sounded like it kept saying like all ego like over and over again. But I haven't gone back and listened to it on iTunes.
That's some AEW stuff. You ever heard Mercedes Monet's entrance? All it is just CEO.
Okay,
over and over
I've
again.
not heard her new entry.
It's the worst thing you'll ever hear. I recommend that you listen to it once, and then you'll probably want to kill yourself after. Yeah, it's I don't know what Ethan Page's stuff was over in AEW, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was because that's the kind of stupid stuff they do. I'm sure they'll change it though. I'm sure that's not lasting.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why I'm so sure, but I'm sure it's not.
Yeah,
lasting.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gone back and listened to it. Like, you know, a lot of times we're like, what's that intro saying? I'll go and like check it out on iTunes and see. But I thought the match was good. I thought it kind of abruptly ended. Like, but I liked it. You know, his anger got the better of him jaw jacking at the referee after a near fall, and he felt the trick shot knee.
Mm-hmm.
Or trick knee, whatever that I've heard it called like 2 or 3 different names, but I thought the match was good. I thought they worked pretty well together. At least it came off to me at times, or maybe it's just 2 guys that haven't wrestled together before, but seemed like Ethan Page came across to me like in the ring as like the veteran, you know, like in
how old is he? Is he a kid or is he old?
That I don't know. I'm just saying in terms of like
34.
It seemed to me like he was kind of setting the tone a little bit more in the match, and that Trick was kind of trying to keep up in spots, but but they worked well together. And like I said previously, Trick has worked well with Dragunov, and him and Mello were fine, even if you weren't a huge fan of that match. I thought he's been good in the ring with other great wrestlers. So, but the match was fine, and I think a lot of that could have just been, two guys that haven't been in the ring a lot with each other. So,
yeah,
but
maybe.
I liked it though. It was fine. I think Trick definitely had to win too early in his reign to not retain the title, even when you had a new signee that's as big of a deal to NXT as Ethan Page is. But
I think the real question is, should they have been fighting this soon into Ethan Page's career? Not should Trick Williams have won.
I would take that match any day over what the alternative was looking like, him versus Noam Dar, because before the attacks backstage, that is what we were heading towards.
I agree, but I can't compare it to the alternative. I need to compare it. I'm never a big fan of a guy getting his first match be a title match. That's just the old school wrestling fan nature.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing was I thought the way they did it was good. Him coming from the rival company, the preposterous demands in the contract, but Trick just wanting to fight him and just do whatever it takes. I want to fight him. Another tried and true method, and I had no issues with it. I think the right decision was made. I like how they pretty much had Trick get a clean win. Just Ethan Page's anger got the better of him, and it was fine. It was quick match, but a good match. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they did a good job. I have no issues with it. It was a good debut match for our friend Ethan Page, and it was a good retaining his title. It's good that Trick Williams was able to do that. I have no issues. My only real issues in this pay-per-view card were I've already forgotten. What were my issues? Well, wasn't that bad.
Some stuff with the ladder match.
Yeah, the stuff with the ladder match, and that's pretty much it. I thought it was a good pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed it.
Proud of everyone for going out there and putting on a good show. We just need to work on some of these people's mic skills and their in-ring facial expressions and storytelling. But they are good wrestlers. No denying that. So kudos on everyone. And I think that wraps up episode 26 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. If you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Golden Squeeze podcast.